Welcome, everybody, to another podcast of the State of the Game, where I and among other friends will talk about Mortal Kombat 11. And this week, I do have my co-host, DreamxEater, the awesome tournament organizer, as well as our guests, I AmTheNight, SilverSandBag, and Stardust Crusade. How you guys doing today? Oh, and I really want to start off on one quick topic. But how are you guys doing today? Thank you for swinging in.
Doing well. Today seems like it's going to be a really good day, and I appreciate you guys having me on
Hell
here.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, doing all right. Thank you for having me on a second time in 2 weeks in a row.
You're fired.
Oh,
Yeah, gloating like that? Come on, bro.
walked right into that one.
And
How are you doing on
Yo.
tonight?
yeah.
And so, yeah, I missed my chance. But yeah,
So first off, I want to start off seeing that I AmTheNight is Canadian. What's the deal with the bag milk? Go.
Oh my god.
oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the thing you're saying is putting open containers of milk in the fridge.
Please don't tell me you do it like Honeybee, bro. That's all I'm saying, dude. That was sauce.
I thought Honeybee's tutorial was pretty good. Like I was surprised by how accurate it was.
Let me walk you through the tutorial. There's this particular moment in the tutorial that I thought was a little off-putting. It's this part where he opens the bag with scissors and then does nothing to close that bag ever again. What are you talking about? Why is that acceptable? Just leave an opened reservoir like that in the fridge. Do you do that to your bag? You just cut it open and leave it?
Well,
Let it
Before
air.
I answer that, I will say, like, when it comes to snipping the corner of the bag, it's actually kind of a skill, because if you snip it and it's like, if it's too small, then you're basically just gonna get like a little teeny bit of milk every time you try to pour it in, and then if you do it too big, it just all spews out and you end up with like an overfilled bowl of cereal and you look stupid. So it's like a skill to getting like just the right amount.
To be fair, we didn't see Honeybee pour it, so he might have done it awfully.
And he didn't slap the
well,
bag.
It could have been too big.
You gotta slap the bag of milk, dude. Come on.
So
Oh,
this sounds like we're leading to I AmTheNight about to tell us that he leaves the bags cut open, though. He also.
I promise everybody.
Do that.
Like, what do you want from me?
I promise
not-
everybody, this is an MK podcast. I promise.
I want to hear about how you get a hair tie out and you tie that shit closed. I want to hear some sort of technology that I didn't know about.
Okay.
A chip clip comes in handy for the milk. Come on, please.
Bro, I've never heard of a soul who puts a clip on their milk bag. That is just weird.
I've never heard of anybody that just leaves their milk bag just fucking airing out like that.
Not even milk. That leaves any liquid just in there. You're trying to get a film to form at the top. Are you trying to grow a friend in there? Horrific.
All right.
But you Americans are too uptight. I don't know what to tell you.
Too uptight.
Okay, Captain.
Knight,
Yeah.
what do you do then?
What do you do, Knight? This is a milk podcast now.
Well, you see, I put the bag in the container, and then I put it in the fridge.
Is there a lid?
No lid, dude.
No.
Well, you see, it's a bag. So what do you
Is there a lid? Yes or no?
do? You put lids
Is
on
there a
your
lid in a
bag.
container?
Do you put
You
lids
go
on
to
your
the
bags? Do
grocery
you
store
hear
and you
yourself?
put a lid.
If I had a bag of liquid, I pour it in a container and I make sure the container has a lid so it doesn't spill. Do you do
All
that?
right. Well.
Dude, we're not gonna hear the end of this.
no.
So
Oh,
let's
no,
let's
Knight.
get into some real Mortal
I
Kombat
think I'm being fair to
topics.
the attack. I thought this was a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna get into some real stuff. I want to actually switch gears from how we normally do this, and I want to actually talk about some character-specific stuff first. So, seeing that we were kind of picking on I AmTheNight, I kind of want to hear what
Just kinda. It was a little bit like to my direction.
I want to hear what Lord Knight's opinion of his characters that he plays and how he feels they are in the current state of the game. So go ahead and give us who you play, who do you think needs some adjustments, maybe some buffs, and what things kind of hinder your characters.
I mean, I want to hear about
That was a lot of
he
questions.
was asking for. I want to hear about specifically the frost buffs you were asking
Yeah,
for.
let's
That's
start
what
off
I
with
wanna hear
Frost.
about.
Let's hear about
Alright,
Frost and
so
Nightwing, my friend.
If you guys don't know, I happen to play a character that is Frost, and no one else plays her. So that's kind of why they want to know my opinions on her, because most people don't even play against a good Frost. Never mind actually know anything about her. But I play, like, I'm known for my Frost. I also play Nightwolf, Jade, and I've been dabbling a little bit of RoboCop over the past few days. So
RoboCop is fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
But yeah, Frost is definitely my main. So in terms of how I think, I'll first say when it comes to being a Frost man, I feel like it's kind of like Geras, where there's like two different types. Like with Geras, there's like the type that like the clone, and there's a type that like the launcher.
Do you mean
And so
like
I feel like it's
variation?
kind of
There's just two set builds that people run with Frost?
Yeah, so generally, what I think is that some Frost players, like me, they like the Arctic Anarchy build, like the version 3 Frost, where it's the Augur and the Dive Bomb, and kind of like that kind of like rushdown playstyle. Well, it's Frost, so like as rushdown as you can get, but there's also the other side to it is like the setup, like with the head bomb, like you see like Resin, who's like considered like potentially the best Frost, like he's all about that, like the head bomb setups.
I know this is a quick derail. Who won the Frost poll? Is it Resin? Is he the one that won
Yes,
the Frost?
Resin.
Okay, that's why the name.
Anyone.
Okay, cool. So he plays the more trap oriented with the head bombs. Is that what we're going to be looking forward to in Pyramid of Power then likely?
Yeah, he was the Frostbite god basically. Like not only did no one play Frost, but no one played Frostbite, because like that's just like another level of like hard. Like there's good things to it, but as a whole, I personally think the Arctic Anarchy build is a lot easier, and I think it works
better. But now you're not
me.
necessarily limited to those. So now in the customs era, are you able to couple the head bomb with the augurs, or is there some other tool that Frostbite needed to have to make the head bomb work, etc.?
So the head bomb is a 2-slot move, which makes sense.
2 slots. Okay,
it's pretty powerful. And the auger is actually 1 slot. So yes, you can have the head bomb and the auger together if that's what you want. I feel like that's probably what Resin is going to do. So like, if you are the type of setups, I think that is the best build.
Apparently, it's pronounced Reason.
Reason, my bad. I think I knew that.
Resin.
Yeah, it looks like Reason.
Resin.
Resin.
Yeah, let's call him Raisin. How can we butcher it worth? Reason.
Yeah, let's just get ourselves blown up on Twitter. But yeah, so if I were to use these setups, in my opinion, that is kind of like the one way, because Augur is just so good for Frost that I don't see a reason not to have it, if that makes sense.
Is that a move that you would consider mandatory? I feel like there's a handful of moves in the game that end up being mandatory. Case in point, one of the key ones for me, Noob Saibot's low slide. If you're not taking low slide, you have to make really strong arguments to justify it. It feels mandatory. It does so good. It's 1 slot. So would you say the kind of the same for Augur? Because it can fit in pretty much anything. Augur doesn't have any conflicts, does it?
Good question. I don't think so.
It doesn't take away her normal fireball, right?
No, it doesn't replace anything. It's just the back forward 1. As far as with Noob Saibot, the reason why you say that, like obviously it's like a powerful move, but it's also because like Noob Saibot's frame data is pretty bad.
There's a bunch of reasons to take it. Plus, it gives you access to the clone KB. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So I mean, I guess is it the same for the Augur? Augur can be plus. It's your combo starter. The Augur has a long list of cool aspects to it as well.
Yeah, so I'll say, like, although you don't necessarily have to have it, like if you're really set on playing Frost and you're like, I really don't want Augur for some strange reason, you don't have to. I think with Noob Saibot, it kind of is a requirement because you need that safety, but Frost does have safety already. So while I don't think you are going to automatically lose if you do not have Augur, I don't see a reason not to have it. I think it's a 1-slot move, and it does so much good for Frost. Not only is it a launcher, it's also best pressure tool. It gets most damage off like air conversions, which of course Frost is known for her down 3 anti-ace. So there's just no reason not to have it. But if you for some reason didn't want to, you don't have to. Like Reason, he was the best Frost and he wasn't using it. So there's not a requirement, but with customs, it just makes the most sense.
So what kind of buffs would you be looking for Frost then? I guess that's what we're trying to really get at is we've identified she's got some interesting abilities and 2 different archetypes, which can theoretically start to come together, which we'll see perhaps what oh man, I've already forgotten which way to say it, what Raisin was suggesting doing.
Reason.
Reason in the sun.
So what kind of buffs would you like for Frost then? What kind of stuff are you looking to Super Frost? Because I will admit, we don't see a lot of her, right? Nightmare series has happened. I don't remember seeing or hearing anybody talking about her really. Somebody else recently just told me that they're looking for buffs for the character as well. So I'd be curious as to what kind of buffs you would like to see for Frost. Like, what do you think Frost needs?
Well, to start off, she needs an unreactable overhead and low, and she needs an unblockable projectile.
All right, well, okay, moving on. Let's talk to somebody else. What she needs? She needs.
All right, if Frost gets that, RoboCop gets a fucking overhead. All right,
and
that's all I'm saying.
We follow up an absurd statement with "Hold my beer, give her an unblockable."
It also has to be mid, so like I don't want I don't want it to be like a new Cybot's slow ghost ball where like it's like reactable and you can duck it. Like it has to be really fast and
let's make it jail off of your down 3. Kotal players are no longer top of the pile.
You know how like Sindel's like a damage over time one where it just kind of like heat seeks after you? Like that's what should happen. Like it should be like Highborn. You know, like the Highborn stance where it just comes down automatically. Yeah,
permanent.
Okay, it should be that.
You can do that for the whole round. All right, so are those genuinely? Is that what your real buffs are? Is that you want an unblockable and you want an overhead low?
Well, no, because then I wouldn't be able to downplay her. So that wouldn't really work.
Do you have a legitimate buff that you would like the character to get?
So I think if you're talking about buffs for Frost, you'd first have to think about like her strengths and weaknesses. So as far as strengths go, like she has arguably the best anti-tier. Like I would say maybe only to like Devora or something, but it doesn't even matter. Like you'll anti-tier basically anything that has a hurt box to it.
Yeah, that low kick. There's
so
that her down 3.
Yeah,
her down 3. I even have like an emote of it. But subscribe to my Twitch. But I don't think she needs an anti-tier. She has really great range. Her projectiles are good, but the downside to her zoning is that she can't have mid projectiles without spending meter for it. So
welcome to the club. Like literally welcome to the club. That is a problem that permeates half of the cast. Half of the cast has that problem. Baraka doesn't get a mid fireball unless he spends meter on it. Shiva doesn't get a mid fireball unless she takes a side or spends a meter on it.
I'm just saying, like people say she's a zoner, but you know,
people say Frost is a zoner. Who says this? I don't know. I don't hear enough people talking.
I've been called spammer before.
Yeah, there's
dude. I get called a spammer playing any character. Jacqui will be called the zoner. You just wait long enough, somebody's gonna call you a spammer.
Go ahead, Star.
A lot of people talk about zoning, but like when it comes to zoning, I feel like it should be more about space control. Does that character effectively always work with space control all the time?
I think that's key too. Yeah,
and she does.
Like Dawson is the original zoner, and it's not about fireballs. It's about my legs stretch that far, right? It's about controlling space. Another big example is Axel in Guilty Gear. Does not throw fireballs. It's just got these really long range normals that can control that space. And I think Frost does have akin to that in some way. Those ice swords go really, really far.
Especially the augers. That's one of the reasons why I love having augers. It's because it kind of just. I think Ninja Killer once called it like a fucking neutral tool, where it kind of just you can't really compete with her footsies once she's able to auger. Like the only characters that can really do that is like Collector, maybe probably Kotal, but it's really good. Like against Jax, like let's say you don't want to deal with the mind game of the dash punch versus the meter end dash punch, you can literally just spam augers and you don't have to worry about that. That's part of her like space control game.
Continuing the line of questioning here, what are the buffs that you want for Frost? Are you saying you want a mid projectile for Frost? Or is there something else on the list that you'd be looking to get your eyes on?
And he's dead.
That's a good question.
Got him stumped.
One thing I would love for Frost personally is her back to 2. So if you don't know, like, that's like her long range.
It's a crushing bowstring.
Yeah. So the second hit of that does have a flawless blockable gap. Not a lot of people know about that because not a lot of people play Frost to begin with. But that's something I find myself always having to do, like back to Augur instead of actually going for the string on block, because if my opponent likes a flawless block or they know is about the gap, they're going to likely exploit it. And so having back to Augur, it is a mind game and you get to close the gap, but you don't get a lot of damage off of it. So if I do back to meter and Augur, I can only get like it puts you really far away, so you can only get like a forward 2, which is like that. It's just not a lot of damage. It's like 20. It's like 20 damage, just 20%. So I would like it if that weren't to have a false blockable gap. That would kind of change her a lot. Like I could do back to 2 more freely.
The Scarlet community would like a word. The Scarlet community would like a word. This is a problem they have.
No, I don't think it's the same, because like with Scarlet, like if they took away, like I don't think Frost is inherently like would be like crazy if you took it away from her. But like with Scarlet, her advancing string, if that didn't have a false blockable gap and it's just -1.
Sure, pick one of the strings. 1, 2, 4. It doesn't need a flawless block gap in it. Like I mean,
sure,
the
but
point of bringing up Scarlet is that Scarlet has.
It also knocks you like so far away, and you're like -4. But, like
I mean, I guess.
With Frost, it's like you're in your face. It's like -7, and you know.
Well, how does the rest of the group feel? Is he making? Should we grant him this request for a buff, or are we going to deny the request? Is he making a good argument that Frost needs a buff?
I would agree with Knight here, because like she kind of gets screwed with her faults.
I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like for a great spacing tool, but also a good like combo starting button, if you have to play that mind game, then you should spin meter to do that mind game. To be honest.
Crushing blow launching string, mind you. It's a crushing blow launcher. It's an overhead as well.
First of all,
and you can simply just do back 2 just to mess with people.
You can break from it immediately, so it's not really that crazy. But go on.
Well, I think that's a different argument, but okay, sure. I guess that's there are too many things that people can break out of immediately. That it's clearly not just like a Frost problem there. It's a problem that a bunch of characters have, and I think that problem sucks. I think that there are very few instances of, you should totally be allowed to spend 2 meters to get out of this for free. I guess not for free, but every single time without any risk that if I know you're going to do it, I can't do anything about it kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think there's way too many of those elements.
The only thing you can really do is like dash up and try to sweep really quickly. And that's not really, even if you get that.
Can you reliably armor break them with the head pop off if they try to break out there?
So I can talk about our armor break a bit, because I think on paper it's not the best armor break, just because it's got kind of a wonky hitbox to it. But what is, I think part of it is kind of crazy if you're using it off of her low launcher. So she has her low launcher. If you guys don't know, it's back 3, 2, down 1.
Yeah, it's that stomp.
The meterless launcher. Mm-hmm. So you can, if you get hit by that, and you just finish that string, you can actually break away after the second hit.
Yeah, most players do. That's where most players' break point is, as they break on the second point before the overhead even comes out.
So what makes that kind of powerful is that I can do back 3-2 into the head bomb, and that actually armor breaks. And it not only does it launch, but it launches meterlessly. And it's if you guess right and you get that armor break, like you actually get a lot of damage. So it's like I don't think her armor break needs fixes, because I think it actually serves a pretty good point. And also in the corner, that's actually a meterless launcher, so you can do that mind game. If they don't break, you're still getting a combo in the corner. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think your armor break's good.
So Frost Augur get more of like the fan lift type of treatment, where you can't really break out of it until the animation's over.
Ooh, I would love it if.
Can you break out of it early?
Like I don't think it's a big deal, because Yeah, the auger, you can break out of it before it can down to you. But I think frost players are clever enough that they kind of got around to that. Like a common thing you see is people do back one into the close bomb. So on hit, you're just getting like a nice hard knockdown. It's like you're not getting that much less damage. And if they break, you're still kind of at an advantage. So I would like it because that would be a bit more damage, but I don't think it would really change anything. Like I wouldn't really care. Sometimes like if I want to get a bit, like if I really think you're going to break, I actually go for the sweep because the sweep will get it's pretty similar to the back one bomb.
I guess Frost Sweep has a really good trajectory on it too, that you don't have to worry about it being really low to the ground and whiffing. Because like, you know, when I initially heard you say sweep the first time, I was like, oh well, then I got to wait for them to get all the way down to the bottom. You know what I mean? Like wait for them to finish falling all the way, and maybe I'll mess up the timing. But because of the way that it comes out of her chest, it actually has like a lot more verticality to it, where it covers more vertical range, where it seems like it'd actually be a lot easier to time than consistently get away with throwing that sweep out there. I kind of forgot that her sweep is that beam from her chest. I'm right about that, right? She shoots the ground with her chest?
Yeah, she kind of like leans forward and
okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's something I use more than most. Like I don't see people doing that, but it's something I've always done. I think you need to do it after the back 2-2-1-2 launcher, because that's really the only thing that's going to hit them. You can't do a back one into that. You could also off the auger, like the only true armor break is her fatal blow. She can fatal blow immediately. Sometimes I mess it up, so I would like it if it could be a little bit more, but a little bit more time to do the fatal blow. But you can still do it consistently, and it will armor break every time. So that's the only real true one. It doesn't work off of the back 2-1-2 launcher. That if you try to do it, you won't catch them, and they'll still be able to break before it hits them.
All right, that's awesome. I mean, Frost, I do notice that she has not been seeing a lot of play within either tournament or even on KL. I rarely see her. She's definitely one of the rare picks for a majority of the games that I do play on KL. But
she's not the only one, though. She's definitely not the only one.
No, yeah, RoboCop's still up there. But, I mean, there's.
I was playing RoboCop recently, and that character's actually so good. Like with customs.
Thank you.
No.
Let's change the mantra. YTJ, if you could please change my command in the chat to
RoboCop is good. RoboCop is actually doing a lot better now. He's actually, and the health buff actually helps him out in certain matchups, especially when he's playing against like a character like my mains, like Jacqui or Shiva or even Jax. It actually allows them to like stay in there and not be just rushed down and deal with crap all the time.
All right, so seeing
that extra 50 health will give you that another opportunity to get them off of you, and then once you have them off of you, you become that much more annoying to get back in. Like if you were to look at the timeline of a match with RoboCop, the number of times like it's like a lot of the opponent trying to get in, you're not taking much damage, then they get in, they blow you up for 30%, and then if you knock them back away, then it's back to them. So that little extra 50 health, if you can stand your ground one more extra time because you're still hanging in there and force them through the gauntlet of rockets and low auto 9 and grenade launchers, I think that shit can actually end up turning it around for RoboCop. It's still a rough fight for him, right? It didn't make it easy all of a sudden on him. Not Cetrion easy, but I think that health buff was big.
Yeah.
I think it was really helpful.
Let's talk about that in a bit.
RoboCop? Yeah, we can talk about that. But what do you think about RoboCop? We brought up RoboCop. Junk, of course, is our resident RoboCop player. Loves himself some RoboCop. How do you feel about RoboCop? Have you been playing him since the changes? First off, I think the big one is, do you feel like the up 2 change has been significant? Have you been able to utilize your up 2 more effectively? And then secondly, how do you feel about the extra health?
The extra health is definitely nice. I definitely appreciate it. It's not something that I expected NRS to do. Like, I didn't think that would be a buff that they were gonna, like, alright, you know what, we are not entirely sure how to fix some of these other things, so we'll just give them a little extra health. I haven't been seeing as much whiffing issues on his up 2 as much. I still don't like that It's basically the uppercut animation. He didn't get like a
As a
specified.
new player, I hate that shit. I hate that shit.
Yeah, it's
My noob's uppercut is used in 3 different moves: his uppercut, sickle port amplify, and his up to 2. It's awful. So lazy.
So
Sorry.
it's I agree. I just wish it was like kind of like Kano. Kano doesn't have like where he has his up to is he does this double knife upswing thing. He has no other moves that look exactly like that. None. So you can definitely see that certain characters, especially which makes me wonder because like Noob Saibot was one of the beginning characters to start off. So why did they get lazy on him? But he doesn't have as many whiffing issues I've seen so far. I haven't whiffed on Scorpion's flick kick. Sometimes it would whiff, but I haven't been running into that. I mean, SilverSandBag has actually been using a lot of RoboCop as well, so he can actually come into this comment if he wants to and speak up on that. But the 50 health has done a world of change for him. I will say that RoboCop is fine, okay? I will say he's fine, all right? He's fine. Hey! He needed a buff. He needed a buff, and he got a buff, okay? That's all I was asking.
And now he
I
is
still
fine.
feel like
Praise
no.
be.
Hold on.
Amen.
I'm not done. I still want some fixes to some of his buttons. That's it. I don't like the fact that Johnny Cage can still crouch blocking get under his 1-2-1 string. I don't believe that 1-2-1 should be -8. I think that's I think that's a good chunk of the kind of things that I want from RoboCop. The health does help a little bit. Yes, I mean it's not like he's at 1100 health, which I don't think he needs. I honestly didn't think he needed the extra health, but if they're not going to do anything else for him, like anything other major changes, then that's what it's going to be. So I think he's good.
He has the same health as Kodal now, so
Yeah, I like the health change. I think that so traditionally, Mortal Kombat has always had everybody same amount of health. That is not the case for other fighting games. It just 100% is not. You look at Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, a bunch of other games. I mean, maybe there's some.
Yeah, but in Street Fighter, some characters take more damage than others, like Akuma.
No, it's not. They have less health or more health. It's not that they take more damage. Akuma has.
no, that's like Injustice too.
Akuma has the lowest health in like Street Fighter.
Oh, is it lower health?
Yeah, it's lower.
Yeah,
okay.
Akuma has lower health, and some characters have more.
And those are the characters who usually have crazy offense or like crazy stupid stuff.
Yeah, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The point being that health differential is a balancing factor. This character has less life, and because this character has less life, that means that they can be more deadly because they're more fragile. And this big tanky character has more life, so he should do less damage. Kotal Khan, 40% for fucking sneezing, but
Yep.
no, he has more health because he's gonna do less damage and take more time to get in, and he's easier to keep out because he's this big bulkier guy. I mean, that's what the idea is with Geef. Although Geef does hit like a truck when he gets in, but it takes him forever to get there. Kotal is fucking half screen wave dashing across, and he's got this big giant sword he can just skateboard across the screen with and get in on that too. So, but I think that health is a cool way to balance things, and one of the reasons that I think that health is a cool way to do things in Mortal Kombat is that it allowed RoboCop to not lose his identity. They didn't decide to all of a sudden give RoboCop a tick throw and then force him to be this close range fighter that now you're incentivized to get in. No, they gave him further. In fact, health also gives him further incentives to stay out, keep away, keep that life lead longer, and it allows the identity of the character to stay intact. They didn't decide to make this other string all of a sudden plus or make this do whatever, which is ways that, like, speaking in the inverse of this, when they decided to nerf Jacqui by taking away some of her health, they could have made her stuff all of a sudden mega punishable, and now you can't do it. But they let Jacqui players keep doing Jacqui stuff. Now they just had less life to work with in that process. And the same for Sonya and Cassie as well.
Cassie.
I think that the argument could start to go into the idea that maybe Sonya and Cassie no longer are in a position where that loss of health is justified. I think also NRS doesn't agree with us. That's why they haven't made any changes to it. Maybe those changes would come if those characters really fell off, but even with 50 health missing from Sonya and Cassie, those characters both still sit in a healthy position in the tier list. So that's probably where they'll remain. I'd like to see more characters lose some health. Cetrion, 700, please.
700?
Yeah,
Oh my
look,
God.
I am being generous, okay? And when you use Rockwall, it costs you 100 health. Now we're talking.
Okay.
I actually would like to see Cetrion lose health along with like Lou, and then Joker. I think those three
I
characters.
think it's a tougher argument for Lou. I feel like Lou needs to be this jack of all trades, does everything good, doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, and I think taking his health would be one of those. So not that I think the character's super strong. Lou with less health feels weird because I mean I don't know if it's a sexist move by the game, but look, the three characters that have less health are the three most fragile looking characters. Right? Like visually, the characters that I would feel most comfortable trying to snap over my knee are Cassie and Sonya and Jacqui.
Yeah,
And then
I
maybe
don't.
like Jade or whatever. But and like Liu Kang just doesn't feel fragile. And Joker is totally fragile. I would totally be fine with Joker being less health. I think less health should be permeated more though. I think other characters are totally candidates for it. Changing the health. They also, case in point, they did it in Injustice 2, and I thought that it worked fine there. It had other stats that they did in Injustice 2 as well that dictated how much damage you took or whatever, but characters having different health pools was totally reasonable and fine, and I think is a way to approach balance that the Mortal Kombat devs should totally be in on doing more of.
Yo, I kind of agree with that. Somebody in chat just said get rid of one of Lou's KB throws. I think that's not a bad change. He already does a lot of damage in general for what he does. He has crazy staggers.
Of 1 KB though, so it's like just.
Yeah, but still
Sure.
the threat of it being on both sides. When Cabal gets a escape failed, you as the defending player can perpetually tech for the back throw and always
Same thing with Kung Lao.
avoid the thing. Yeah, same thing with Kung Lao. You can just always tech for the crushing blow throw, and yes, you may eat the 13% and the side switch or whatever, but it introduces a level of the mind game that when it's on both sides, it's just back to a 50-50 and there's no weight in one side or the other. And when there's only one that triggers, there's weight to one side.
And then you're guessing also not just on the 10 frame grab, but you're guessing on his 9 frame mid, his 11 frame mid, and whatever else he has that's around the same amount of time. So you can just bait you out basically for a full punish if you're trying to like neutral duck or something.
All right, well,
Yeah,
since
and you're 50-50ing on top of that, and Mortal Kombat throw tech is a true fucking coin toss. Like it is not a Tekken. You see which arm and you know it is. For all intents and purposes, a coin toss. And when we're talking about with crushing blows queued up, in some cases, the positioning, when it's going to kill, that doesn't fucking matter anymore. Like, it's not about trying to keep the corner when I've only got 25% left and he's going to kick my face off.
yeah, I mean, I agree. But since we got Stardust already in here and talking, give us some insight on who you've been playing lately and what kind of hinders your characters and what kind of buffs do you want for them?
I played Jacqui, Jax, and Shiva.
All right, get out. Get out.
Get
out!
Oh
Let's hear
man.
about Jax. I heard Jax's name. That's a conversation I'm willing to have.
The only thing I really want changed for Jacqui is her grab. There's been so many times where the grab will whiff, and I see the person blocking and doesn't interact, or a person will neutral duck and I whiff and they don't get to hit me at all. And it's like, it's kind of weird because she has a similar issue like how Melina would have, where her foot pushes her opponent a little bit further, and it's just like, why is that still there after 2 years? Why haven't you guys changed that?
That is kind of
true.
true.
It costs games for both players, so I feel like that should be fixed. Shiva's all right. I don't think she needs to be touched. The character.
What? You don't think Shiva needs to be touched?
What?
I'm gonna wait I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna try to say stuff prematurely because I remember when everyone said what Shiva was bad, and
Dude,
it turned out
pre-patch
she was.
Stomp. No. We're not talking about. I guess Junk has preemptively phrased it like, "What buffs do you want?" But not every character needs buffs. The question should not be specifically buffs because how obnoxious and broken.
Oh, if I want something nerfed, I want Dragon Stance nerfed.
They already nerfed it.
No, I mean the pushback needs to be less. Shiva can get up close and mix you, and then she also has unblockable low grab if she equips it. That pushback doesn't need to be there for like certain matchups. She needs to struggle more in the neutral instead of just having a thing that pushes you all the way back, and if she hits you, you keep getting pushed all the way back. It's like she needs to be more of up close identity, not a I can play all these type of roles identity. Like I like the stomp because it can reset neutral and it's hella stupid. But like,
I bet you'll stomp.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's dumb, but
It's
like,
so
Dude,
dumb.
it's too dumb. It's too dumb.
Dude, stop. Y'all just need to get good.
Match analysis this week, and you know the things that I peruse for where should I grab my footage from are Champions of the Realm, Pro Tour, and when the Coliseum's back, that's going to be it. All three of the usual events that I go to, both Pro Tours, both coasts, as well as the fucking Champions of the Realm, Shiva's in top 8, and it wasn't just like a Shiva crawled into top 8 and then bounced out at 7th. Achilles got 2nd place. Like,
And he's not a Shiva player.
He's not a Shiva player. I think Achilles is maybe more of an outlier of like, this is somebody that like doesn't even play the character, putting in work. I think that it was Tigers in the Pro Tour event, one of them, and Tigers is like, I play Shiva, this is what I fucking do. And wait, hold on. Didn't Tigers win with Shiva?
Yeah, he won with Shiva. Dude, like
it's not just
Slink So Wavy was literally
Shiva's
complaining.
in top 2.
Slink So Wavy was literally like crying, not literally crying, but like was upset in Twitter about how they lost to a move, basically.
Yeah,
like,
to
and that's
stop.
the
And
stop.
then, okay, so does anybody know who it was on Pro Tour East that was playing, or West, whichever one it wasn't Tiger, who the Shiva player was in that one, in the other side of it?
No, I don't remember right now.
What are you saying?
The other, so Shiva was in Pro Tour East and West, both sides. Titanium Tigers won. I think Titanium Tigers is Plus is not real. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was you as the DDoSer. You're right.
Oh, Plus is not real. He's a good player. Yeah. He's wild though.
He's a DDoSer. He's a filthy scumbag that makes death threats regularly. That dude should get banned. That is like the one person.
Yeah, I remember. He was saying Shiva was stupid for a long time, and like enhanced stop is dumb. I feel like
I think it should be banned. That's just me.
You think it should be banned?
Banned.
I don't think it.
I think banning is too. I think banning is way too heavy-handed. Banning is reserved for shit that is like beyond broken.
Bro, what do you think this is?
I think that
they are spamming. There's no way, dude. Hold on. Let me. There is no.
Doesn't mean that the rest of the world can't. Like
there is no handling a guessing game.
Yes, there is though. Yes, there is.
No, there isn't.
Okay, that's what your opinion is. But at the higher level, players that are legitimately good at this game, way better than me and you will ever be, can deal with it.
Okay, then why is she winning tournaments? Dude, Slink So Wavy literally just said that they lost to a move.
And Gur beat him. Gur beat him. Like, Gur was able to deal with it. And this is just now a thing that's happening. We really haven't had enough time to fully watch and see how the top level players do deal with this. We haven't had enough time to let this thing really ferment.
Plus, there's already been options for how to deal with the stomp, including the hand stomp, for like a long time. It's just that when characters get swept underneath the radar and they resurface all over again, everyone kind of forgets how to deal with it because.
But keep in mind the patch changed it. It used to be where like a lot of characters could walk out of it and stuff, and now that's only a handful of characters. The tracking became even better on it, and the hitbox became even better on it. So it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the same as when she first came out.
Didn't they release another patch that actually kind of nerfed it a bit too?
They
That
changed
was
the
They
frames
change
by like
anything.
2, but they didn't really change anything. What I've heard, I don't have to know if this is true, but what they did is when they adjusted everybody's hurt box so that they couldn't duck under shit, they made everybody like bigger and wider. That made it so Stomp was connecting more too. And like
Well,
people, when
thing
people
is with that,
walk in and out of Stomp, they were kind of barely getting out of it, and now if they're just slightly bigger, now Shiva's catching them.
That makes sense.
they did that, but then also when Ultimate dropped, they also increased the hitbox size of Stomp itself. When Ultimate had dropped, so it was everyone's hurt boxes got increased, but then the hitbox of Stomp also got increased. So it was like now it's twice as big as it used to be.
Oh yeah, I guess if they make Shiva's hurt Stomp bigger, if the hurt box of Stomp is tied to her own hurt box, if she gets bigger, then that means the Stomp hurt box gets bigger while everybody else is getting bigger. So it's like, both like, we move forward 1 inch and she moved forward 1 inch. Now everybody's that much closer and it's a lot easier for it to happen. So yeah, Shiva, I did not think the Stomp was bad when she first came out. Like, was a really annoying thing to deal with. It was stressful because it would catch you, but if you were looking for it, you could just walk forward or backward out of it. And then there was the guessing game of the Dragon's Drop. If they decided to aim it to where, like, if I'm going to walk back and they aim it behind me, yes, they will catch me. But that is not what the problem is with it now. That's part of it, that they can add that to it. But I guarantee you, if you just ban Dragon's Drop, Shiva's Stomp is still a problem, whether they can steer it or not. It's still a fucking problem.
It's a party
everybody's gonna get hit
move,
over
dude.
and
That's
over
all
again.
I'm
It's
saying.
not the ability that makes it broken. It's the move itself, and you can't ban the move itself without banning Shiva. It's a built-in move. There's no way to get rid of it. It cannot be done.
It's just like
They're
if I
going to change something about her. It just make the hitbox smaller. So
Yes.
characters that can actually get out of it, and characters with faster back dashes or front dashes can get out of it. That's all they really should do. I don't think they're going to do that, to be honest with you guys. Because
Here's
they
my
don't take the
here's my
simple route.
personal opinion about the Stomp. It's not so much that the move is broken. The move is really strong. I will say this, but what I personally
We're having a little trouble hearing you again, buddy.
yeah, I
I'm
can hear
sure-
him.
yeah.
I'm trying to fix this up. Am I still being hard to hear? Or am I good here?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
so-
still hard to hear, sadly.
Damn. All right. Give me a second. All right, guys.
So,
it's just like
I mean,
if I objectively talk about like no bias, I'm just describing the move. It is a tracking, delayable, unblockable that you can change where you put it, and it has a crushing blow that does 30% guaranteed. Sorry, over 30%.
It's one of her legacy. It's literally one of her legacy things that's
but
carried
it's
over.
so much better than it's ever been in
Yeah, it's so much
any
better than
other
ever.
game.
I mean, isn't it like back, like Goro Stomp used to be neutral, right? And now on hit, her Stomp is plus 14,
Well,
for example.
Shiva already had the directable Stomp since like.
But the problem is not that it's directable. The problem is, in my opinion, like one of the core problems, the thing I just brought up, is that she's plus on hit. So when you get hit by a Stomp, it's that much harder to avoid the next one because they just do another one, and you have now a quarter of a second less to move out of the way.
That is a good. That is a good point.
Yeah, and that's not how it was for Goro.
Nah. Yeah, she probably needs less advantage on hit, or they need to make the opponent recover a lot faster after getting stomped on.
Yeah,
She can still plus on it, but like not enough to the extent where she could just go up and down and just because a lot of players get away with that, including on high level.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, I was watching. I mean, I did match analysis, and I did one of the Shiva matches, Gur versus Achilles, and by the end of it, I like one of the matches, Achilles. All of his damage came from throws and stomps. He could not find an opening in any other way, and it was just okay. He stomps, and then he goes for the stomps again and again, and it's until Gur can get out of the stomps, and then neutral gets reset, and then back to trying to stomp his way in. Like that was the game plan for these Shiva players is to just keep on stomping. It's too good to not do, and I think that ends up being the core of the issue. Is that the problem is stomp, not ample or not. The ability stomp itself is the problem, and you cannot ban Stomp by itself. That
The
an
thing
impossibility.
is that that's a core thing that makes people kind of shy away from Mortal Kombat. Is just spammable abilities, dude. Nobody wants to see that.
But I think then, that
that's
also creates an issue of like if you're well, I think that there is a merit to the concept of when the NetherRealm stream goes live for the Pro Tour and the top 8 has Shiva stomping her way through the bracket. There are people that watch that would never watch any of our grassroots tournaments. They don't know about them. They just don't, but they know about Mortal Kombat, and they'll turn that on. And yes, those people are totally turned away when they see that shit. That shit is not a good look. I 100% agree. That being said, those players banning the Stomp does not fix that for those players, right? Those players, the way that they play, Stomp is going to be 100% allowed, and so is Devora turning into a bug at the end of the game. Like, so banning Stomp, if the community bans Stomp, that doesn't fix the casual problem. The casual still will run into Stomp. What has to happen is NRS needs to take it upon themselves to nerf that shit. Like it needs to get fixed at the developer level. The only alternative is if we leave it how it is and more people get scared away from it, it creates this weird skill gap that people don't want to deal with, and then that is when we start to get into the territory of, are people just going to ban Shiva? And I don't necessarily think the character needs to get banned, but from like this isn't fun to watch, to fight, to deal with, that like, you know, nobody would even feel bad. Like a lot of people would start to not feel bad. And we are almost at that. We were getting to that point with Jacqui. I mean, look, Arn Kratos and the CIS guys hosted a Jacqui's Not Allowed tournament. That happened. A whole Jacqui's Banned tournament was a real thing, and they were proud of it. And there are still people that are like, yo, ban this fucking character when it comes to Jacqui.
Yeah, like I would rather play in a tournament if I know Shiva's not allowed.
Yeah, but I don't think that like if I was like, would you guys be like, yo, let's go, Nightmare Series is banning Shiva, that's tight. Is that how you guys would feel if I decided to ban Shiva?
Honestly,
I don't think Shiva needs to be banned. The Stomp needs to be nerfed, or at least adjusted in a way where it's easier to avoid. That's all it needs to be.
If I'm sitting there expecting the Stomp and they do it and I'm still getting hit, there's a problem.
Well, that is Stomp in its current form, sadly. If you can anticipate it all you want, and you'll still get hit. Yeah, like I play at this point when I run into Shiva players, I just play Baraka because I can do Spine Burst, and if I did it too early, I can do it again before she even lands. Like I can just keep on doing it because the recovery on it is dumb, and I can just throw a bunch of Spine Bursts, and she will eventually land in that shit. And it also covers the left and right ones as well, right? Forward and backward, it doesn't matter where you're going. The spines have really good coverage.
Literally, the only characters I really can deal with are like Terminator's Teleport, Melina.
Teleports are a good option.
Fujin's Wind Kicks are a good way of getting away from it. Cabal can
even
out. Basically any move that says fuck neutral that puts you far away, that's towards the screen. That's pretty much the way to deal with stuff.
Well, with Jade, I can run out of it, but what's to stop Shiva from just doing it again? And just because
that is what it becomes. Is that if Shiva has the life lead, you don't get anywhere. Like if Shiva, all she needs to do is get a bit of a life lead, and then she's stomping over and over again. You're avoiding it. Neither one of you are touching each other. She's maintaining a life lead, and you lose.
Yep.
Like I saw it in the tournament where Tigers got banned or whatever. He was against Crispy, and Crispy was playing Kano, in which every time he saw the stop, he would do Kano Ball to go full screen. But guess what? Tigers was like, okay, you're full screen again. I'm just going to stop again. And what happened was he would just wait for him to fuck up his input, and then he would get hit. So it's like, it doesn't, a lot of these quote unquote options to get away from the stop aren't actually accomplishing that much. They're just delaying the inevitable, basically.
Well, I think that they
actually has an option to deal with it, though. You know that I forgot her move where you have the EX to freeze. Not the auger. It's what was it? I forgot. But there's characters that have options. It's just that.
Oh, the burst where she like puts the ice around her.
Yeah, you can actually freeze Shiva's Stomp. Like legit freeze it. before
What are you talking about?
He's
You
like,
use
give me the
Arctic
tech.
Burst. You use Arctic
Yeah.
Burst, and
Use
it
Arctic
covers
Burst.
everywhere. It's
Yep.
very similar in terms of to Baraka Spines.
Yeah, but you still have
be
to get the
honest.
timing correct.
What do you mean? Is
I
that
don't know, man. The
something that
second
you burn,
amplify on
and
that
then-
is fucking huge. The second
It's
amplify on Arctic Burst is huge. I don't think you have
Wait,
to time
are
it
you
that
talking
hard.
about the move that takes 16 seconds to go off, and you have to meter burn it? And if I get hit, it goes away.
What are you
Hey,
talking about?
but
16
Is
seconds?
that the move that you're saying is OP?
Whatever
No, I'm
move
saying it's
is her
options.
combo starter.
Yeah.
Bro, you're
It's-
joking. You know how hard that would be to time?
Dude, that's what
It
I'm
doesn't
saying.
seem like it would be that difficult to
It
time.
takes.
It wouldn't
Bro,
be that hard.
hold on. I even tried to counter the stomping with the fucking Storm Cell, and I was losing to it, dude. Like,
Yeah, you're
It's-
joking if you think that's an option. Not only am I
I'm not-
sending a
I'm-
reason,
okay,
it's
I just think-
never going. Please
say
show
there's
me
options.
footage of that ever happening, ever.
Bro,
Ever.
Alright, ever
you
is
can
way
copy
too
an
strong.
option,
That can
then
for
that's not
sure happen.
a solution.
you sure? Okay.
I'm gonna lead it down
that's the
two
reason
and
why
hit the down two.
there's actually some Frost players that have done it that I've seen on Reddit do it. That's the only reason
Yeah.
why I brought it up. So
It's like it
but-
can work. Maybe it's not easy to do and ideal, but when you're left with no other options, like Shiva's gonna stop at you and your choices are get hit or try that. I'd be at
All
least
right, well,
willing to
good luck
try it.
going 16 seconds without getting stomped, just to time it perfectly to
What do
the
you mean
exact
16 seconds? What are you talking about?
What are you
16
talking about?
seconds?
What move is this?
Shiva
You're
Stop
talking
is
about?
like what? Like Shiva Stop is like what? 25 on startup?
No, I'm talking about the move itself, the amplify. She doesn't just blow up whenever you want. She blows up after 16 seconds.
No. You're thinking of the move core overcharge, not that.
Yeah.
The fucking
So what are you
move that
talking
that everybody does for their combos. Where
Where
she
she
fucking
blows
like
up her chest?
flexes and she
The
blows up.
burst. It's the micro
That's
burst.
the
You
move we
said the
said.
wrong move.
We said Arctic Burst. Are you fucking kidding?
It's in the same letter. It's Iteration 3 Frost. Both of them are.
Night. I love you.
Okay,
But
now that you know what we're talking about, does that change your opinion?
Oh.
Micro
that
burst.
literally covers her jump and like it's not-
I'm actually,
Covers both
I might have to steal that
sides.
tech. I've never heard of that.
Bam.
What I do is
not cold
I sometimes do sometimes I'll do like the dive bomb because the slide can kind of get out of it, but
Well, we're not
it's
talking about
really
getting
a
out of it
great
anymore.
option.
We're talking about like directly saying "fuck you, bitch, come at me," and you
Alright,
can
so
freeze her.
I'd have to see how that works. If it actually like freezes and everything, then cool. Then maybe Frost is an option. But what about the rest of the cast?
I think it could work. Because
That's
of
a good-
the
I
characters
will
have
try that.
options to deal with it, but it's not consistent options for like the whole cast. Like, I think what was it? Characters that can basically delay their like air teleports or any type of move, or basically stop any aerial movement, can like literally deal with Shiva in a way. But actually, yeah, Fusion's tornado actually will stop that stomp. It's just whether or not people run those loadouts and are they optimal enough to actually get.
It's like, do I have to pick a top 5 character to beat a move? Really?
No, I'm not saying a top 5 character. I'm just saying a character has an option to deal with it. It's just whether or not is it optimal enough to deal with it. I mean, deal with Shiva specifically.
You shouldn't have to
in our
have like such specific tech
But
for such an
you should.
obvious.
At this
I don't
point,
think
you have-
move.
it's not a case of shouldn't. I think that there should be universally accessible options. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be a case of like my character can't do this, but the idea that you might have to take an ability, that's what it's for. Like that is what the variation system is for. If you're
Yep.
stuck in your rigid ways of I want to play this variation every single game, fuck you. This is not the game for you. Like your refusal to be flexible will be a detriment. 100%.
I understand. Like, if I'm
I like running like Knight. I like running first round KO Jacqui. I hate certain matchups like with Spawn or Jade because I can't get in. I start running Rockets or I start running Plasma Blast just because I don't want to deal with them in the neutral.
Okay, real quick. Let me.
I,
Sorry. Real quick. So SilverSandBag had to hop out because he was actually in an airport and his audio wasn't working. So we will have him next week. But sad days. But go ahead. Back to what you were saying, Stardust.
every character has options. I just feel like when it comes to like what's the newest thing on a block on a competitive level, I think it is on us, the community, to look up what are the options against this, and what can we do, especially since now you can customize your abilities, figure out different matchups. Not everything will be easy, and if it's still a problem, then it should be nerfed. Like, I legit think next gen upgraded needs to be nerfed. That damage needs to be done because that is complete bullshit.
I think they need to.
deal with it.
When it comes to that character, I think they need to break that character up. It's
Yeah.
like it's a monopoly.
I agree.
My biggest problem with next upgraded gen is not even how good it is, but because of how good it is, you will never see lethal clinch. You will never see rocket. You will never see hyper knee. She's got some really cool abilities that are just nowhere near good enough
As effective.
to ever stack up to up next graded gen.
Yo,
Like,
I've never, ever, since I've been playing this game and like the
I haven't been
customs
shot
came
with a
out.
Jacqui rocket once.
I haven't been shot with a rocket once from Jack. I haven't seen that ability used once. I've only seen it when
Same
I
here.
played it, like
Yeah,
for
same
myself.
here.
Like,
I have never ever had a Jacqui fire a rocket at me, and it's not because rocket isn't good. I've fucked around with rocket. It seems like it could be fun, but the reality is, if you're gonna play Jacqui, you might as well go full force and just take it all the way to the line, and that means playing next upgraded gen because the unbreakable damage is good. The damage in general, even when it becomes breakable, is good. The mobility, the ambiguity, the ability to stagger all that shit just becomes that much more deadly when you can not only do the strings, but you can just loop into them over and over again. Like, it just makes everything else pale in comparison. And that, I think, is a problem. And that's the case of, like, you have to break it up. It's this build is too strong, and it makes everything else not viable. I think it's not as strong of an argument, but it's starting to get there with Cetrion too, right? Cetrion has a
yup.
specific.
Ridiculous.
I can
build
speak
that
up on
everybody
that.
runs.
I think her teleport needs an actual nerf. It's to the point where you cannot react to it on like a read, where
Okay,
she
so-
can literally teleport and. Sorry. Oh no, I was about to rant. I don't want to start
Oh,
ranting.
rant, please. We want to hear.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'll be up next though.
We want the rant.
Oh my god. I don't know, I just hate Cetrion. Ever since the game came out, she's not really been changed. The only time they really changed her is her 1-1, which used to be +2, and they made it like -2, and used to be interruptible if you had a fast enough button. But now you can't. She has the same amount of range as like some characters that have like what I would say weapon base, like hitboxes. Like, it's so dumb. And on top of it, her fucking teleport, which she can do in the air or on the ground, it's fast enough for her to recover. So by the time you read it, she actually can hit you before you can actually like try to stop her. And on top of it, like, she can space out with rock wall, and you have to do that mind game, even though it's -20. It's like you don't know if she's going to amplify it. And now she has teleport.
Dude, I'm so
Teleport
sick
and a
of people
tornado.
telling me to deal with the rock and just to, like, I put like Noob Saibot, he can just jab right through it. Like, people are ever gonna be fucking hugging me before they do rock wall anyway.
Yeah.
She has 2 versions of it, by the way, which I
Yeah, exactly, dude. Nobody does close rock wall. Nobody fucking does close rock wall. Everybody is doing pokes into far rock wall, which you cannot just OS through.
Yeah, I think definitely Cetrion's one of those players that definitely needs a health deficit.
Yeah, I was
and-
kind of Dr.
500
Niven,
health.
but,
500 health.
I like
I'd
how Dr.
rather-
Niven, he said that Cetrion has 5 2-slot moves. That's, yep. I
I
agree.
think they need to make her. I think she needs an overhaul on her abilities too. Like,
Yeah,
the 2 slots for the fields.
Teleport needs to be
Tele-
2 slot.
Yeah, teleport needs to be 2 slots. I could agree with that. And I think they need to take a look at the elemental fields because they don't get any play either. It's a case of there's some interesting ideas in there that just don't come up. They just don't come up. And part
It's
of the
just
reason they
that
don't
how
come up
can
is
you
because the other
argue
stuff
with-
is too good.
It's just how can you argue with a lot of the people are going with the armor break and the teleport and the grandpa? She's not like other characters where you had to switch for this move for this matchup.
Yeah, she keeps
Will
health wrap
always
and the
be
boulders,
the
all the
best move.
bullshit she keeps.
So that's what I-
like
She pretty much has a loadout that just covers all her bases.
So I was literally running this challenge on my stream called the Cetrion Challenge, and I had labbed her for, I shit you not, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I only learned 2 strings, and I had that loadout. And it was stupid, dude. It's stupid how easy she is to pick up, learn, and figure out, and get wins with.
What were the results of the Cetrion challenge? How many fell before your hand, John?
Yes, of course Dream wants to
You're
chime
talking to
in,
one of the
dude.
victims here.
Yeah, see? Like, dude, talking to one of the victims. Dude, tell me how fucking oppressive and how stupid it is, dude. Like, it's
she
ridiculous.
Keep Jax out, which like drives me nuts. I'm just like, damn. And then I tried to run his counter zoning tool, the Bricks Brigade, where he absorbs a projectile. That shit's hard to do when you're trying to deal with like rock wall, and you're like, wait, she doesn't amplify.
And ground pound doesn't work on that, right? Ground pound goes underneath the
the vine. She gets a launcher off of that, and that also won't work off that.
Yeah,
that'll also beat that. Actually, that beats glow.
I am still stunned that the best zoner in the game has access to a combo starting anti-zoning move. You know what I mean?
She has so
Like,
many tools to her disposal. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's the only tracking shit in the game. Gears has to aim that shit. Frost has to aim that shit. What's his name? Shang has to aim that shit. And I'm talking about other projectile breaking fuck you moves. And
it just tracks your ass.
Players just fucking fall onto their controller, and the vines are there, dude. It's
it's very punishable, so it's not like something that such players do over and over again. That's more for
everything else. The list of everything else I said is punishable too. Corpse drop punishable, quicksand punishable. I don't know if cryo thing is punishable.
It's not the same. Like Vine is like minus double digits, while
yeah, but none of that matters when you're
Vine's one of her weakest moves, but it's like you don't see it that much unless they get a hit confirm and then they want to extend their combo.
Yeah.
After
it also crouches, so she gets under projectiles.
Yeah, she low profiles underneath shit. But the thing is the negativity of it when actual Cetrion players use it, its punishability is not a factor. Nobody is punishing vines on block at full screen, and the few characters that are, Cetrion players aren't doing it to them. So I don't care that it's punishable on block. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Nobody's doing it to the point where it is punishable. Where it's coming up, that's not a factor. And it's still way too... Like, vines should be an ability. You should have to pay for that.
Yeah, I think some of her slots need to be readjusted. Like
that character, I would not be shocked if... Well, I would be shocked because I don't think NRS is willing to do it, which is a shame. But I think
Jacqui and Stardust are untouchable. Apparently, they must be good throughout the entire game. Otherwise,
I feel like Cetrion needs a complete overhaul. Like, Rockwall needs to be an ability. Like, she has that other move that replaces Rockwall that no one will ever use. That should be the base move. Like, they need to do a whole overhaul to Cetrion's ability and kit. Because here's the thing too, if you were to say that, let's say for example, Scorpion needs an overhaul in his ability pool. There is an argument for, like, you can't take teleport away, you can't take spear away. These need, you know what I mean? Like, he has these legacy moves that have been there forever. You can't take these out. And even with Jacqui, there's like maybe some level of legacy, even though they kind of got rid of it. But Cetrion has none of that shit. There is no precedent to where, like, no, Cetrion's had Rockwall for years. She always gets Rockwall. No, fuck that bitch. Take it away. She doesn't need it.
Take it away.
Take it away.
Yeah, she has it for years, but not for games, not for generations, not for decades. At least
change it because what did they do? Scorpion's teleport when the game first came out, it was a mid. I'm glad it's a high.
I remember the Scorpion prize.
That doesn't matter too. Good Scorpion players aren't putting that out on block anyway. I still think that teleport being a high doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore because a good Scorpion player will deal with it. Same thing with, like, I was upset about Dash Punch being punishable on block, but I realized, like, if you're dealing with upgraded and she has a free thing that gels you, and then she has a thing that it's on top of it, you can do a floss block setup on it. Yeah, that has to go. That has to be.
Dash Punch not being punishable was insane. Like, one of the characters that you most desperately want to keep away from you has a I am in now move from half screen.
when the game first came out, it made sense because, like, she didn't have zoning tools. Like, there was next gen, but next gen wasn't that great. There is
a difference between the custom era and the non-custom era. The custom era,
like, opens up huge. Like, people liked first round. Like, they thought that stuff was hype. But once upgraded,
exactly right. People thought that before upgraded was even a thing. People thought that the character was cool with first round. What is her other variation? Oh yeah, next gen with the plasma. Sunio was running that, and
the set play and everything else on it.
Yeah, which I thought that shit was super cool, and now it's like been homogenized into just some demon that haunts my nightmares.
Oh my gosh. But oh yeah, let's get back to the thing because I want to talk about Jax. I want to see buffs for Jax. I legit want to see Jax like.
His customs are crazy though. Like so many good one slot moves.
I feel like Jax has a lot of character to buff because of his momentum.
Yeah, I feel like I just want ground pound to be a little bit faster. That's it. Or maybe have like a ground pound fake out. Like just give him like similar feints to like how some characters can like act like they're going to do something and then stop it. Or like
what if ground pound cancel costs meter? Will you still want it for defensive bar?
Well, a lot of people's cancels cost meters, so yeah, I feel like it.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious because like that would be the one way to make it, in my opinion, more balanced. If you just let him DP cancel, I'm pissed.
You can just like down one or like fake something out. That's not really a big deal. But like,
well, I think that's the problem with ground pound in its current state is that ground pound is not a real threat. You can always challenge it because it's so fucking slow.
You have to use ground shatter if you really want to if you want to EX it and then force someone to actually think like, oh crap, I have to be careful when he does that animation.
And then that makes it safe to aim his ground pound in this little. It doesn't even feel like it hits very far, and it's a pain in the ass to combo after it.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Jax didn't have something like that to begin with. You know, like Jacqui had her feint. Like, I'm surprised that Jax didn't have something that was kind of similar.
Dude, Jacqui's got those incredible feints that cost nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Defensive.
I'm not even gonna I know they're bullshit at times, but I love them.
But here's the thing: as bullshit as they are included in up next graded gen, so they're
not that good. Apparently,
they don't see the light of day. Like very few players actually run them.
It's because you can actually react to the councils and just press on her. Unless you have like godlike flawless blocking skills, you're not really going to see.
Oh yeah,
Jacqui. I
always just press on. First round stuff. Like I never cared about the cancel. I always I wouldn't do it every time, but I knew that if I was right, I was going to get a lot more than like a G Panther string or something.
Oh yeah, you're down. You hit now. I have to really be careful when I run it because someone hits me with down one. I have to make sure that I block afterwards immediately because I can be gelled into a full combo, get punished for it. I'm just like, well, is it worth it? It's fun. I'm still going to use it. But like, I don't know. For Jax, I kind of want to see a bit more for him. Just nothing too crazy, like how I see some people saying that he should have a command grab off his back 3-2 string. I can't remember the full string.
Yeah, with Shower or like Raiden.
I wouldn't hate that, but I don't think that fixes Jax.
That's such a weird change.
I don't think that fixes the problems.
It's kind of hard because it's like you're right. He is a momentum-based character, and you have to.
What are Jax's main problems, though?
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad character at all.
Jax's problem is I think he's easy to keep out, but I think that's by design. I think Jax is, or maybe not easy to keep out, but a case of like easier to keep out, right? Like the thing about Jax is you don't want him close to you because when he is close to you, then he gets to play his game. He's going to almost always be excelling in those up close ranges.
You also want to keep full screen pressure on him because once he builds up that heat and he can start zoning and then he starts slowly working his way in, that is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I just want
and his heat zoning is legit. It's actually really good.
It's one of the fastest projectiles in the game.
Yeah, like one of his biggest issues before was that he was complaining that like you have to make more right reads with Jax because he has to build up his heat. But now that you can just have a launcher that's one slot. Now that's not even an issue. So he's getting good damage off of his 9-frame mid, which is something not a lot of characters have anymore.
9-frame mid.
And he's got good zoning tools, and he's got good movement. He's got damage now. Like I don't see.
I think what his problem. I genuinely think that what Jax's problem is the problem that a lot of momentum-based characters have. It's that when Jax, it's not a case of. Because he doesn't have reliably, unless in the corner, ways of denying people wake up attack. And I think it just comes down to wake up. Like the ambiguity of the get up system means that when Jax does catch somebody and does cash out the big 40% heat rocket crushing blow, he's a character that like he's got to make that he's a character that it's like you got to make 3 reads and you can win, right? You got to catch him and then you got to catch him again and then third time they're dead. And it's just it's too hard to read them defensively because they have so many options now. They can
jump, you can actually like mash out of like you can mash them out before you can actually try to meaty you sometimes, which is like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's too much ambiguity. There's too many options, right? Like what are the options? You've got roll, you've got delay, you've got wake up buttons, you've got wake up jump. You've got the 2.
You actually now got a flawless block set up now if you time it right.
Yeah, right. You can flawless block after your delay.
Up 3 and up 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there are all these different things that the Jax player is looking for when he knocks you down that in previous games, like in MKX, it was a case of like you have to look for the wake up attack or look for like wake up throw. Like wake up jump was nowhere near as powerful. Meaties were a lot more reliable. And you would dash up and you would block their shit if you thought they were going to wake up attack, or you'd medium. And then with Jax, it was back to mix-ups, right? He had the dash cancels and all that shit. But like now it's a case of like you can't do all these cancels like to keep your pressure going. So if you didn't blow them up, then it's like, well, fuck. And it's harder to keep that momentum and really run with it.
Like, because you can actually outplay someone, but like just because they have so many options defensively, you're screwed.
There's that many more things you have to look for. It's like that much more harder of a call out you have to make. So it's a case of 3 reads, but before you only had to look for maybe 2 to 3 different things. Now you have to look for 6 different things, and then like still fucking tarot card read that shit and know what's up.
Yep. I don't have that problem with Shiva or Jacqui because like I have options to make people scared about doing something stupid on Wake Up. But Jax, it's like I could be smart and doing the right thing, and it just feels like, what the hell, man? Like, why are all these options? Why are you guys able to do all this when I did the right thing? That's how I feel when I'm playing Jax, and that's something I kind of want to see. Maybe give him a stronger meaty game somehow, or make one of his options where he has more of an active frame, like against wake up buttons and wake up jumps. Like
I understand. How's a character with a 9-frame special cancel mid have a problem mediating?
His mid is stubby. On top of it, you not really want to use a 9-frame. Like it's like the obvious one, but like I rather use his forward 2 because that leads into an option where you either have to guess, I'm going to special cancel it. Am I just going to stagger it? Am I going to do down 4 or the overhead? Like the 9-frame is the most limiting one. It's fast, but it's limiting unless you're in the corner where it's like at that point you got to respect it.
Yeah, I think the 9-frame mid still gets like, people delay. Now it's whiffing over their head, and you have to be quick with it to get the timing right because nothing has really long active frames, right? Jax doesn't have like this big button that he can just like throw out that will catch different timings of delay or whatever. And not to mention, people can roll away from forward 3, and now you're punishable if you're swinging the full string, right? If they roll behind you. I think there's like a 9-frame mid is not. It's a good tool, but it's not like this end all be all for like, oh well, now I can meaty like the best of them. Like there's like wake up options. There's just too many of them. Everybody's wake up options get fucked up.
What makes like characters like Cassie and Jacqui a little bit stronger is because they have the 9-frame mid, but they have other buttons to actually like that are good enough to stop it or to even bait out a roll, right? And then actually punish someone for trying to press on the roll immediately. Jax kind of doesn't have that.
Cassie has a restand. She didn't have to deal with that shit. Jax also does in the corner. Gotcha is a restand. I didn't mention that.
That is, in the corner, Jax is. But like
corner game for Jax in the momentum department is a lot more in his favor because he can get the heat up and his throw crushing blow and the overhead crushing blow are that much more threatening because it does truly become a case of either like block jump or duck the throw, and there is no wake up options that you can put into that. You can't delay underneath it or wake up jump out of it or wake up buttons out of it or wake up attacks out of it or wake up fadeable. Like none of that shit is part of it when you're getting restood. Is he what are the plus frames on it? How plus are you?
He's plus 4, I think, in the corner.
He's plus 4. Okay, so it's not a bunch, but enough to stuff like Fatal Blow armor and stuff. Whereas like Wake Up Fatal Blow will fuck up your meaty timing sometimes,
Oh
actually.
yeah. Like, I think what other characters have like a similar reset option that's like +4 or something like that. I'm trying to think of it right now.
I know Noob Saibot's is 0. Reigns is also 0. Both of their restands are 0.
Jacqui also has one off of Lethal Clinch that's 0 as well.
Yeah.
So
If
it's
you end
like-
in Lethal Clinch and let him out, it's 0.
Yeah.
Nut Punch, Cassie's Nut Punch, she's at like +1 or 2. She does not get a lot out of it.
Oh,
I think
Spawn is
that's
+4.
similar for Johnny Cage.
Yeah, I was thinking Spawn.
Spawn's is +4.
Yeah. That's all. The only change I want for Jax is maybe like a stronger meaty tool that he could use in the mid screen. That's it.
I could
doesn't
see a
really do
stronger
anything
meaty
else,
tool
'cause-
from. I could like that. Like if you somehow made forward 4 like more active,
Yes.
where it would, because it's a good like meaty knee to throw out there, and you could make the decision of like, all right, I'm just gonna try to cover a couple different options here and take my plus frames from blocking it or plus frames from him getting it hit by it too, and go from there. I think because that also would start to give moves a use. You know, there are, and it's not just Jack. Like when's the last time a Jax player hit back 1 on purpose?
Never.
Right? And like it'd be nice to find some of these moves that like either have a counterpart that just does it better, and then let's find a new move. Like, is this their new, maybe make this their anti-air, make this their meaty, or, you know, find some other way to make some of these moves more valuable. Because I haven't seen a Jax player use back 1 in forever, and that is not the only move that I'm thinking of when it comes to that.
Okay, I want to take a hot
Sure.
take real quick.
Go ahead.
Is there... No, don't come at me. I'm just throwing this question out there, all right? So just chill, okay?
Daggers are ready.
Yeah.
Damn it. No, put the dagger away. So, do any of you guys have any thoughts on if some of the characters should be reverted back from where they were in the previous patches? Like, I was just thinking of how Jax would be if his Fatal Blow wasn't changed from a high. You know, it was still a mid. Like, do we? Hold on. Let me. Are we all happy with the direction the game is going, or do we want some characters kind of to be reverted back to their original strength? Like, because for instance, like Sonya used to be one of the top dogs, and now I don't see her very much as much. So, what do you guys think on that kind of retrospect?
So I personally I don't think that I would like to see any change reverted other than the Shiva Stomp. That the Shiva Stomp is the only thing I can think of where I'm like, this was clearly better beforehand. I don't think that the Scorpion Teleport even mattered. Good Scorpion players are canceling it. It doesn't come out on block. Who fucking cares if it's a high? They're not touching you with it unless it's in a combo anyway. When it comes to what was one of the other examples?
That's not true on the Scorpion thing, but whatever.
It's for the most part like actual
Jacqui,
good Scorpion players are not throwing out teleport randomly in the neutral without canceling it.
Yeah,
Like, lower
because
level
it's not a mid
Scorpions are
anymore.
Lower level, but like I would
No,
think.
but at the higher level they weren't either. At the higher level, good Scorpion players weren't just randomly teleporting because it was a mid. It was still death on block. Like
Yes, they were.
canceling it
They
to
were
get
in the
every
beginning.
time.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, like
You were not
that's
playing
what I
good
liked was
Scorpions.
that it
I wasn't
separated the
playing
good
them. I was watching
Scorpions.
it.
Dude, I was running events. I do not remember watching Scorpions teleport blindly in and because it's a mid and they felt that they could get away with it. Like all the good Scorpions were running Reborn and they were canceling it to get in, and it didn't matter if it was a high or a mid because it wasn't swinging. Is what I got out of it. And I guess it's like there was the same thing with Jax. Jax players.
There's no
if you-
crushing blow. I forgot about that. Remember his command grab used to be super easy to do back in the day.
Oh, the gotcha grab crushing blow.
No,
I thought they made it easier.
No,
Is that with a command grab?
His
Like the
command grab
double
was
DX,
easy.
and then you get
They actually made it
40%.
harder.
Oh, the
they
quad
made
grab
it-
KP, they made it harder.
Yeah, they made that harder to do. It used to be
alright.
easy where you used to get 40 back in the day. People used to complain about it a lot. It was
Learns
I
of
think, Jax,
execution.
Scorpion. Dude, if I can easily like get that crushing blow on the first day when I didn't have no execution at all when I was playing that game, that it needed to be changed. But I remember Sonya as Junk mentioned, I remember having a move that would pop you up and then you try to break away, and then you have to guess the mix again, and then you get popped up again for 40%, which was like wild to me back in the day.
Well, what was the
I wouldn't
move
mind
that we're
seeing
talking
it
about? We're
now.
talking about air control, right? We're talking about like the change that they made to Sonya was that they nerfed her health, which we already discussed earlier. We don't necessarily all think that she needs to keep 950 health. That being said, I don't really care. If 950 health isn't the end of the world for Sonya, just like Cassie, they're both in healthy positions in the tier list, so I don't care. I will say, though, the other big change they made to Sonya is that air control is no longer her combo starter, right? They made it so, like, people used to do whatever launcher into air control, amplify, and then they would do shit, and now air control just splats. I think that's how it should be. I thought that that made it so that every Sonya player was doing the same fucking thing over and over again, and she has all these other ways to combo extend that nobody would bother to do. So I thought that it was a healthy change for the character. Ultimately, in the long run, she didn't lose much damage when they did make that change. She still gets respectable damage when you end in ass beating or whatever, or you combo extend with the air throw or something else or whatever. So I mean, those are the three biggest. Are there any other? I don't think that we should revert anything. What are the other reversions that you guys would want to go to?
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like reverting is just it's a bad idea because if you revert one person's move and like the Scorpion teleport, like it just you can argue.
Aside from that, like whatever other bullshit arguments.
I don't want to see Geras reverted. That's one thing I had to think about.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's another good one too. When they changed Geras' crushing blows instead of having 15 fucking counter hits, there's another one that I was, yes, this is for the better. I think
then, remember his move that got changed too. He used to be so, it was hard to put him, like to pin him down, and then he had a grab when he got close to. It was.
He had the best backwards movement in the game.
Like he can literally outzone zoners, and like he literally get a crushing blow, and it's like it wasn't smart to try to zone him out. You had to be like, you had to play at your optimal range with any like rush down character or something like that, and you're still risking getting like opened up for like 40%.
It was whack.
Yeah, like the only thing you can revert is really health. Like, you know, you could argue like Kotal should be back to, he shouldn't have that. Like they should still take off another 50 because he should just have normal health.
Yeah,
you can argue that like
normal health.
Because I didn't really get the chance to say, but like. I personally think that the whole health changes is quite lazy. Like I think for RoboCop, it does kind of make sense because for a zoner, a life lead is a big deal. But like for Shao Kahn, like they can keep adding like health and like sure, eventually they might get to the point where like you have to just keep hitting him and like whatever. But like it's a stupid change. Like
I disagree really completely with Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn is like, when I was bringing that up, I brought up Zangief. Shao Kahn is much more of a Zangief that he struggles to get in, but when that motherfucker gets in, he's going to take 40% of your health bar, and between the chip, he's only got to do it one more time and you're done. And that extra health lets him weather the storm and work his slow ass in that much longer, because when he does get in, he's going to decimate that health bar. And it's not a case of he has to get in twice. He's got to get in once, get your breakaway out, and then get in again. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a case of just 2 touches and you're dead. Like, he does have to put some work in.
He has, like, literally a combo that literally just carries you all the way to the corner. So even if you've wasted your break when he gets you again, it's like you have to sit there and realize, like, damn, I'm in the corner. If I get hit again, it's over. I didn't think Shao was that much dangerous until I fought a Shao player that literally did 420 to me in the corner. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I think Shao's in an okay place. I don't think he needs buffs, but I don't think that the health buff was bad for him, and I think that he's in a place where the character can still win. I mean, it's the same argument I have about RoboCop in that, like, players are probably doing it wrong. Yeah, this is their identity too, but it's like the idea of like there are all these Shao Kahn players that would cry for buffs, and then you watch video games, Yo is able to go out there and win, and then it becomes this weird argument of like, oh, well, that's just video games, Yo. And it's like, no, it's not actually. It's actually all of you guys.
No, that's a little bit of video games, Yo, as well, dude.
It's not, though. Video games doesn't have a special power. He doesn't have some...
His power is his talent. His power is his talent.
Because he knows
his gameplay.
But that doesn't mean that he's somehow doing magic to make Shao Kahn good. If video games can make it work with Shao Kahn, then theoretically,
but he's also saying that he's in a bad spot, though. Yeah.
Okay, whether he dropped him or not is not part of the argument, because he obviously wants to.
No, but it goes to show that if
he wants to play Shao.
Yeah, if he wants to play Shao and he can't, yeah.
I don't think if he truly wanted to play Shao, he would just play Shao. Like,
Here's the thing I want to say. Like, we could talk about tier lists and where characters sit at, but like end of the day, people aren't going to be knowing a matchup if a character's not really played that much if they're considered ass. And we're seeing that right now. Where like everyone thought Shiva was bad or good, and then a few changes later, now she's a problem. And like also before that, we're complaining about not having freedom and in character archetypes. And so now I feel like Shao is in a place where he's in a good spot, but maybe he might need a little bit of fixes. Like maybe the 4-3 that could be changed. It doesn't need to be super negative, but
I mean, I don't think Shao is the best character in the game by any stretch, but the idea that Shao is like this unwinnable, put the controller down character is insane. It's absolutely insane. And yeah, you're totally right. Shiva got a little bit of buffs, a little bit of changes. Now she's broken. If we did the same approach to Shao, all of a sudden, like, yo, Shao needs buffs. We're not willing to figure it out in his current state. Please buff him. And then they buff him, and then all of a sudden he becomes broken. Like, we don't want to be dealing with that again. I think we can all agree with that. We don't want to deal with another Shiva instance. And like, I don't know. I don't think that video game Zio is a superhero. I think that
but he's a really good player. Dude,
yes,
even
really
if Sonic Fox, is sitting there playing with the worst character, you're not gonna say that. Oh, this character's better than everybody thinks he is.
But
you just need to
Sonic
get better.
Fox
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah, well, that's
that.
I don't agree with your stance on that then.
But Sonic Fox one time said Leap wasn't that bad, and this is when Jacqui wasn't nerfed at all.
Yeah, I remember he said that Jacqui was gonna fall down over time on the tier list.
Yeah,
I think
he
Jacqui
really
will,
did say that.
to be honest. Now that more and more people are figuring out how to flawless block the leap, you see that happen more and more. That character's falling off. But I guess when they said that was not with the flawless block change in mind. That was just speaking in general. Jacqui's powerful, but gonna fall off.
Dude, Jacqui hasn't fallen off at all. Literally, she's still top.
What are you
still top tier. She's still top tier.
From Final Combat, where everybody is playing Jacqui. This is so different from that. She's still top tier, but the only people that are playing her are loyalists. Yeah, it's not the case of like Samij is all of a sudden a Jacqui player and everything else like that when it got real bad, when everybody was playing Jacqui. Yeah. Like I'm talking about to the point where not hijinks and jukes are winning, but everybody is just playing Jacqui and winning. That's where it's a problem. Which is where Shiva's at. Achilles, not a Shiva player, all of a sudden winning. Tigers plays everybody, so a little bit less, but still like. Tigers would not call himself a Shiva player. He'd call himself almost anybody else player.
No, he calls himself a Shiva player. He calls himself.
He does now because he's winning a bunch with Shiva.
Overnight he was Shiva. He was the best Shiva.
He's the best Shiva.
No, I said like overnight he pretty much became the best Shiva.
I wouldn't say he's the best Shiva. I hate to say it. It's the guy who I would not mention his name, but that Dream doesn't like. I think he's the best one.
How can you say he's the best one? He got fifth place.
No, I think Tigers. I think it's unanimous that Tigers is the best. Tigers is the best.
Tiger had to get kicked out of a tournament, and then once he was allowed back, he won. What are you talking about?
I think him getting kicked out is not part of the argument. That's not part of it at all.
He didn't technically get fifth.
He's just making an example.
Well, sure, he didn't lose that time either, but he may have, but he also could have not won two of them. Like, it's very possible that the other people could have been in his way. But one tournament is still more victories than Plus is not real has, and I think by that alone, unless you're trying to say that, like, the NA West is just nowhere near as stacked as NA East, which I don't know if I can get on board with that.
I think the East Coast players are way better than the West Coast players. I'm just gonna be very honest with you on that one.
They still have Scar and Rewind. Like, there's still some crazy players.
Wait, Rewind is East Coast?
Yes, he's from Vegas. Or no?
Yeah, I was about to say he's West Coast.
Yeah, he's what? I mean, we have some legends in the West Coast, but I feel like it's more stacked than the East, and especially like.
Well, it's also like when we're talking about the tournaments, right? Like Dragon and Sonic Fox are not on that list, regardless of where they live, because they're not participating in the Pro Tour right now. From my understanding, they haven't. I haven't seen Sonic Fox or Dragon in Pro Comp at all this in the online stuff.
But notable names to me I think about the pro competition will probably be like Coach Steve, Gurr. I can't remember. Damn, I'm trying to remember other people right now. But it's just like I just feel like East Coast is a lot more stacked with people out there.
K7 hijinks.
Yeah. K7 hijinks. Yeah, we have Jukes over here in the west. What about is Deoxys on the west? Deoxys on the west, but
Deoxys is from Texas, so he's like in the middle. So I think he could play in either one. But I mean, we're still talking about I'm talking about Pro Tour. I don't care about the players that don't play. I don't give a shit about them because I'm trying to make the argument that Tigers is better than Plus is not real because he's got a better placement, and the only way that doesn't work is if Tigers is playing a bunch of people that are shittier. So if Deoxys is not in either of those brackets, then he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm worried about who are the people in the bracket that Tigers is beating that, or in the bracket that Pulse or not Pulse, but Plus is not real is running into that Tigers, wouldn't be able to handle at all if they were on the other side. And I don't think that's the case.
Only reason why I brought Plus is not real is because he gave like several players, including Rewind, an issue when playing against them. So it's just like
that's meaningless. That is so meaningless. He gave them an issue with a character that nobody knows how to fight against. Dude, I could give them an issue for a couple hours.
Yeah, that just proves the character's good. It doesn't prove them as a player.
Yeah, I don't think that makes them the top one.
No, I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm just saying better Shiva for the moment. When the character gets nerfed, we'll see who actually will use their skills and actually will still be good.
Well, Tigers has a bunch of other characters that he can run to.
Yeah.
Plus is a little bit more of a one trick. He'll probably go back to Kano. Or Gears.
Yeah, Kano gang, baby.
You don't want this one in your Kano gang.
No, get him out of Kano gang, baby.
I don't know. I think that, ultimately,
because
the character and the player, you can't separate them. You can't say that Sonic Fox is weaving magic and that's why he can win with bottom one Joker. Like that, and that's what they did in Injustice, right? That's what they did in Injustice. Right. And I think the reality is not that Sonic is a wizard capable of, feats that are impossible to mere mortals. It's a case of all the Joker players just need to level up and realize what these tools are that they have and they're not using. And the same for Shadow.
You're also discrediting Sonic Fox's ability to react and play the game, though, dude.
I'm not discrediting it, but
you are a little bit. You're saying that he can't weave magic and all this kind of stuff, and
yes,
I'm not. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying that he's an extremely good player, and that is a huge sway to him.
But an extremely good player, they are not the only one of those that exist. I mean, you guys are making it seem that if a player is good enough to make it work with a character, nobody else could do it because it's not that character that it's winning. It's Sonic Fox. It's not that Joker won. It's that Sonic Fox won. It's not that if you were to give somebody else the opportunity and just they wouldn't be able to do it. It had to be Sonic Fox, and it doesn't matter what character they're playing. And I think you guys are totally wrong. I think you guys are totally wrong that Sonic Fox is the only one who could ever win.
I'm kind of in the middle. It's the player and the character and what a player can use to abuse that. Not everyone will play a character the same way, and but not everyone will is not a question whether they will or not. It's not a question of whether they can or not. We all could theoretically do what Sonic Fox is doing. What is stopping you from doing what Sonic Fox does? What is stopping you from using those tools the way that he does?
And now I feel sad.
What is the how come what is Video Games Yo doing with Shao that other Shao players aren't? That they can't. I should say can't. Not that they aren't, because we know there's a bunch of stuff that they aren't doing. But what is it that Video Games Yo is doing that other Shao players shouldn't even bother trying because it's impossible because they're not Video Games Yo? How dare they?
No one in this game is unplayable, but if we're trying to talk about balance, we're just saying Shao is not on the level of
Shao definitely is not easy to win, or not anywhere near easier to win with compared to other characters. Shao is a struggle. Shao takes a lot more work. That is absolutely part of it. And a competitive player at the top of their game that's making money doing this, I don't blame them for a second moving to a different character that gets the job done more efficiently with less stress. But the question I'm asking is, can they do it? Not is it hard for them to do it? It's can they do it? Because the way that
can win with any character, pretty much the way this game is set up, is whether or not how much work you're going to put into it, like you said.
That is what I wanted to hear. Anybody can win with any character.
But it's just there's no reason to play Shao. There's no reason to play him.
This is the most balanced NRS game, and I hate saying this. after playing like previous NRS games and stuff, I'm realizing like they actually did a decent enough job with like actual characters this time and not making them wildly fucking crazy. There's no Starfire in this game.
Mhm.
There's no
I 100% agree. This is the best balanced game they've ever done. The top and the bottom are so much closer to each other than they have ever been.
But
Like,
it doesn't
can some
mean
characters
Shao
get some
doesn't
help?
need changes.
Oh no, like no,
Sure, yeah, it's not perfect by all stretch of
agree.
imagination. It's not perfect. There are characters that could use some love. There's some changes that would be beneficial, that would help, that would not even break the game. We're not saying that like if you touch it, the whole thing falls apart. Absolutely, I think it is in desperate need of continued tweaks. Right? We're all talking about how Shiva Stomp is obnoxious and we want to see it nerfed or changed.
Shoot. Yep.
But
I legit want to see like another mechanic introduced. Like after seeing that Street Fighter 5
Yeah,
thing
dude.
with that V shift, I want to see a new mechanic. And like
I agree.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about V-Shift and Mortal Kombat's refusal to ever add anything new to their games? And when we look at like, let's take a quick look at Street Fighter 4. They added ultras and focus, like red focus at some point. Tekken, they've added rage drives, and then they got wall bounces or whatever. Like they've added new mechanics that change the way you play. And Mortal Kombat gave us variations. That was a big shift. But what's the next big change?
I think that was the big.
actually moved away from, and like NRS actually moved away from armor, which thank God, I'm glad they did, because it allows people to actually like, oh, you can't just all of a sudden rely on like just doing a meaty. But like now I want to see options where like if I want to do a meaty or something, not even a meaty, I just want to see a new option where if I make a right read, I'm getting rewarded for it. And it's not someone just being an ass or just playing like a crazy madman, just getting lucky, you know?
I don't even. For me, it doesn't even need to be a mechanic. I just want to see them flip the whole game on its head. I want to see them really be willing to shake it up. Whether that be a case of like every character got a new ability, and some of those
That would be cool.
are better than others, or you know, this character got a command grab, and this character just got a like. They're obviously going to be weighted out based on who maybe needed what. But I would love to have to make it feel like there's a whole new game, a new mechanic. Would do that, like a universal new defensive mechanic or a new way to spend meter, or you know, something like that would be another.
Yeah, Street Fighter's getting that parry mechanic, correct?
Well, the new thing they're getting is V-Shift now, is what it's called. So it's like
it's a
you use
defensive
your
mechanic, but you
booster
can also
and
use it to attack. Sorry.
Yeah, so it feels a bit, in some ways, to me, it feels a bit like Flawless Block, honestly. If you time it properly, you'll get a slowdown, and then like so somebody attacks you, you activate V-Shift, and your character will become briefly invincible. They like jump back and they'll become invincible. And if you time it perfectly, it'll also initiate a slow-mo. And my understanding on and activating it perfectly is getting it with like the timing of when the move would hit, very similar to Flawless Block timing. And if you get it timed perfectly to get the slow-mo, you can, in some instances, the move that you're flawless blocking or whatever V-shifting will become punishable because the recovery is longer, just like Flawless Block, right? Different block timings or recovery timings on that. And then there's also, for things that you can't punish naturally, there's just a straight up attack out of it, like a straight up 3 out of V-shift. And it's a defensive mechanic that, in my opinion, seems very similar to Flawless Block. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool the way that they're deciding to give whole new tools. And they did that in Street Fighter. They added a new V skill and a new V trigger. Those were the two mechanics throughout the game's life that when they decided to give everybody a new V skill, give everybody a new V trigger, that was big. That changed everything. Matchup charts needed to be redrawn from scratch to take into account this whole new way that all these characters can play. So for me, I think with the way that MK11 is built, I think new abilities is probably the best and easiest way to approach it. I think they have a really cool foundation. The other alternative to that would be maybe not necessarily new abilities explicitly, but like a new way to do the abilities. I think the current way of the abilities is kind of iffy. I think that they could maybe, instead of having like 3 open slots, put whatever you want in them. It could be a case of like you have a utility slot and a combo slot, you know what I mean? Like a different kind of slot, and you have to like fill your moves up with that different kind of way of doing things, and it would, you know, force maybe different build ideas on it. But
like utility, combo, and then like unbreakable. Pretty much, you decide what type of playstyle. I mean, how you're gonna play it. Pretty much.
They kind of try to do that with having certain conflicts of moves. Like you can't
yeah, but I think there needs to be more conflicts.
Play more
I think,
with his launcher.
Yeah, but I think the problem with the conflicts is that many of the conflicts feel like the conflict is decided more on the basis of, oh, both of these moves use the same input. That's all. That's the only reason. Like what doesn't Delia's dance conflict with something that is completely fucking different? Completely different.
Jade's rush attack.
What do you mean? It conflicts with the butterfly, which makes perfect sense. It's a better version.
Oh, well, okay, so maybe that's the wrong one. But there are moves that like it conflicts, like Scarlet's blood tongue, or the perfume. You lose blood tongue to take.
That's
like,
a stupid one.
What is that? Why do those two have to whatever? And it's like, okay, so that kind of stuff would streamline some of that to make it more of a balanced decision. Aside from like, well, we decided to make this move be on down back 4, so now it has to take away blood tongue. Sorry.
Before they made it honestly, I used to felt that way about like Jax's lethal clap because I was like, why am I losing gotcha grab?
Yeah, gotcha for clap was like, what? Why would you do that?
And even then, it's like you don't see that many Jax players run lethal clap unless they're like Dab or someone else.
I haven't seen any players running. I see Ripped all the time. Black Lives Matter said it's really good, and I trust him as a Jax player, but I haven't actually seen him even using it himself. Although I haven't been watching him a lot. Case is part of it, but.
I've only been watching, like, you guys know what I'm talking about, Dab, the guy who plays Terminator in RoboCop. Yeah. Like, he mentioned it, like, it's good for, like, combos and stuff, but it's just, like, it doesn't feel like it has much utility compared to Gotcha Grab. Like,
Gotcha Grab does so much other stuff. It does corner carries and or side switch, does restand, heat buildup.
Builds heat.
Like, there's so many good things about Gotcha Grab that just don't exist for Clap. Clap really is just combo starting, armor breaking. So it's like if you're playing somebody that is frequently getting out of your combos, which I feel like you have to make a build that is doing combos with Jax in general. Like he's not a combo monster.
Yeah, it's just like, why not just use the launcher?
Yeah.
The launcher,
man. You want combos, use your launcher. Like what? Why do you use some clap that like you have to have heat for it to sometimes have a kind of launch as opposed to an actual launcher?
Well, I don't want to sound pessimistic or anything like that. No,
go ahead.
I have a feeling
I don't think they'll do these things.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think that. I think NRS is going to prioritize maybe adding more characters than having another shift, like adding some like maybe slots for abilities.
I mean, they could totally do both. Adding a new character.
Dude, I hope they do both. But from the way the way I see things. And like I said, I don't want to sound pessimistic. I just do not think that NRS is going to make any other significant shifts other than maybe like patching or adding characters. I don't think we're going to see
I totally agree with that. I think there's no precedent for it. And NRS has never made any changes like that to their game. If you look at MKX, the biggest change they made to MKX real quick, the biggest change they made to MKX is at a certain point in MKX, they decided to give a handful of characters like Kano got a new normal, right? They did change that at some point. Kano got new normals. But even when they did that, the new normals that they gave characters were all of them were normals that were like animations that already existed. You know what I mean? It was like this animation already exists and is like his 112. Now we made 2-2 use the 2 from 112. Like they were unwilling to make any big even like go back to the mocap studio and record some new moves because characters need new tools. Like they have been very unwilling to add or give big shifts or changes to tools. MK11 probably the biggest change we've ever seen is that armor break even exists.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was the big
armor break are like the poke system in a way because Spawn had it with the DLC character. I feel like the DLC characters are always usually, if you look at what they're doing later on, the cast will get it. So Spawn had the armor break, and then I think Fujin, Shiva, and RoboCop had really weird pokes at first compared to the rest of the cast, but the rest of the cast got normalized along with, to more their level, where like literally they can't mash it out like.
Fujin pokes have always been good.
Say again?
Foods and folks were always good. That was never.
Yeah, well, they're good, but like weren't they like -6 or something like that? Like unlike other characters and stuff.
Foods and down 3 could low profile Cabala's 1-on-1.
I'm not talking
not
about
all
like
characters.
how good they were. I'm talking about how they were like negative, like 5 or 6, and like that's how they were. Like Shiva was like that for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's
And
still
then-
like she was one of her. She's probably it's like her weakness is that she has really bad pokes.
Well, yeah, bad pokes, but I'm talking about how negative they were on block.
Yeah, just like the general
Other-
idea that pokes were then shifted to be more in line with that concept of their frame advantage or lack of it was a move that came after those characters kind of got the original pass. The inverse of that would be jump kicks. You know, right? The newest DLC characters came out and they forgot to put that on them.
Yep.
But then they went retroactively added it in.
So like, if they do come out with new characters, I'm gonna try to see what they have compared to the rest of the cast, because that's what I noticed when they're gonna do like a big update or shift. Because that's what they do. They don't try to do it in between, like when they're releasing characters. They do it with the characters.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, I'm being hopeful. They're not. I don't see them adding new stuff. I wish they did, but I can see them later on. Like if there's enough demand to like maybe change like certain moves and actually make them usable that are like terminate ban.
Mm-hmm.
Not terminate like terminate, but like Rain's wave dash or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the Adenian stance thing, the flight thing that Sindel has. Find a way to make that balanced. There's definitely some moves in there that need to just be tweaked. That it seems like they got banned because they didn't want to deal with it.
How did you do the terminate move?
Some of them would stay banned. Some need to stay banned. Some of them are clearly towers only gimmicky bullshit, but like some of them are moves that could be fun in a competitive environment that it feels like they were just like, we don't want to figure out how to balance this, so let's not for right now.
Some of them seem like they would be good for a competitive environment and be at like answers for specific matchups that would be cool to see at a high level. And like that's what I want to see. I want to see Rain use wave dash like to get around to deal with like certain characters, because imagine you had that against Shiva. Shiva would never be able to touch him. She would have to deal with his zoning.
I would cry if I had to go against that in its current form.
Well, you would cry if you had to go against it in its current state, but if they shifted it and changed it, you would maybe be less sad about it.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Remember, they allow upgrade to run free, and they allowed Cetra to run free for a long time. Like,
so we're gonna have to wrap things up. But
I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. You're all good. You're into it, dude. So I do want to do one last question and kind of wrap things up with this last question. I think it's a good question by Hoozy, and we'll go down the line and then we will do our outros for everybody. So the question is, what would you rather have if NRS gave you the choice? An 8-character combat pack or 2 new abilities for every character? Let's go ahead, Dream.
I have to choose between the two of them?
That is how the question is phased.
Well, I feel like there's the cheater route of, I'll just take the normal combat pack size instead of 8, and then I'll take the 2 extra abilities. And
Okay, you're a cheater. All right.
But if I can't take my cheater route, then I probably would prefer 8 characters. Like if we're saying that there will be no more DLC because they're going to give us new abilities instead, I think that the game could still use a little bit more fleshing out of the roster. I still want Smoke. I still want Takeda. Like there's still a lot of characters, and I think new characters, as much as new abilities are cool, new characters always build and give new life to the game in general. So I would probably take more characters ultimately.
All right. I am Lord Knight, I should say. I am the Knight. How do you feel?
I'm gonna go the exact opposite, and not because just be different, but like to me, I think the character thing is a really big problem. I think with Ultimate, it kind of proved it where with Melina, Rambo, and Rain, we're seeing like the least play out of those characters out of all of them, and just because the trend of I'm so hyped, this is gonna be my new main, and dropping them after a week is only growing increasing, and so I think people are realizing that just adding characters isn't necessarily the best thing. So I think in terms of like really changing the game, like if you're always just adding characters, you're just gonna keep going this pattern of, wow, look at this trailer. Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And then they come out and you're underwhelmed. I think instead of that pattern, getting the characters you already play, which you're already enjoying, to elevate that is what they need to focus on, as opposed to giving this false hope of a new game when in actuality it's just Rambo and Molina, who people really hype for and no one plays. And like you could argue for Rain, but like still Rain is not as popular as a lot like the Aftermath characters that become like Fujin,
RoboCop, and Shiva. I played way more than those three, but I'm going to be the opposite of Unite. I'm going to say the 8 characters because, like, I remember every time a DLC character came out, people would say sometimes they're trash. We now think Sindel is one of the dumbest things in the game, and people didn't think that she was going to be that great, like, at one point. Joker is really considered top tier, and he's a DLC character. Now
Joker's my least favorite character to fight in the whole game. I fucking hate fighting Joker, dude. I would rather fight a Jacqui player than a Joker player, and I would rather fight a Cetrion player than a Joker player.
Just pick up Jaden.
Yo, just pick up your boy Rambo.
See,
Joker?
here's the thing. I feel like it's too early right now to tell where these 3 are where they're gonna place on the tier list and stuff, because there might be someone who might find something stupid or an optimal way to play them, and then you're gonna see everyone pick them up.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the idea. That's the idea of like, this person's not a wizard. They just tapped into something that you didn't see before.
All right, don't get back into that rant. We're trying to wrap shit up.
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, like, when Third Variations came out, people thought Leap was a terrible idea, and they thought a lot of characters' Third Variations were trash. What happened? We now see Upgraded be the most played version of Jacqui. Like,
oh yeah,
I think
all it takes is one to innovate.
Yeah, it just takes like one, like, I think it just takes 1 or 2 or 3 new characters to change the whole scene. It's just whether or not someone's going to put in the time and whether or not the information is already there for everyone else to use and who is saying the information. Because now everyone knows who Jukes is. Jukes has been a Jacqui player. I used to follow him, but now everyone knows who Jukes is because he is considered the upgraded. And now there's people who didn't know of Tigers, but now they know about him because of Shiva. Even casual people who don't even follow the game that I like try to get into now know of these players because like they see funny clips online and stuff. So like I think new characters will do well, not just from a competitive standpoint, but also from financial and casual standpoint, bring in new blood that will actually get more players into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
that's fair.
You cannot deny that abilities do not cost any money to make. They will not be DLC abilities, and NRS makes no cash. And when it comes to like what's going to bring money in the door, NRS is going to have their eyes on the money, and that will be character packs. They do not make any money selling us abilities because they can't sell.
Well, are we arguing what's going to make more money or what's going to be better for the game? Because
no, I'm just saying that aspect of it is part of it.
Patches are a much bigger deal.
We were just arguing which would you
characters.
rather have, minus the money or all that kind of stuff. But guys, we got to wrap things up. So I'm sorry to cut you guys off, dude. If you guys want to go on for a fucking another hour ranting on about the game, I would be down. But I don't know if everybody would like to stand for that.
We would just keep
going.
going.
I know.
We'll be talking forever.
So I'm gonna be starting off with the outros for the guests. So I Am The Night. If you want to tell people where they can find you, maybe your Instagram, your socials, by all means, give them the spiel.
So mine's just for Twitch and Twitter. It's the same thing. It's I_AmTheNight_89. And yeah, I'd appreciate that. Got some Frost don't play and fun stuff like that.
Oh my god. All right, anyways, Stardust, go ahead and give everybody the spiel for yourself.
If you want to check out my content, I'm on Twitch as Stardust Crusade. I'm also on Twitter as Martin DEMARIO Demario _, and it was probably Stardust. And then I also have an Instagram called Stardust Crusade Official. I play a lot of Mortal Kombat and other games, and you guys will expect to see me rage if you tune in.
Lovely. That's what they get when I play too.
Dream, go ahead, give yourself a little pat on the back. Go right on.
Well, as hopefully you guys know by now, I do run the pretty large Mortal Kombat tournament called the Nightmare Series that happens on the Xbox side of things. So if you have an Xbox and an Ethernet cable, definitely want to get involved in that. In addition to that, though, besides the Nightmare Series that I'm running, I also do match analysis every Monday. So if you want to come through and listen to me break down some, high-level gameplay, you can find that on my Twitch, which is / DreamxEaterx. And those also go up to my YouTube, so you can find all of that. The archive of all that, been doing like 6 weeks now, so there is, 4 times 6, you know how math works. And you can find a bunch of episodes of match analysis up on my channel as well, and that is YouTube / DreamEaterMK. So if you guys want to find me, there I am.
Boom, already following your Twitter right now. That's
Bam!
Awesome, I love it. Everybody getting in there.
Imagine not already following Dream. That's crazy.
Right? That's got all the good updates and stuff. There's
All
good
that
stuff on there,
good.
promise.
But seriously, I do want to thank everybody. I am Junk. You guys can follow me at Junk on Your Bunk on Twitter. You can definitely follow me here on twitch.tv / the Junkbox, Instagram the Junkbox _. Honestly, seriously, I want to thank everybody for swinging by. My co-host Dream Eater and the 2 guests, I AmTheNight and Stardust Crusade, aka Martan. That's what I call him, but the dude that I always run into in KL. But seriously,
You got that scope ready,
dude. A big
my God.
shout outs to you guys. Thank you for swinging by for this commentating thing for this podcast. I appreciate everybody here. Discussion, yeah. But you guys, this will be up on YouTube, so everybody watching it on YouTube, please do not forget to like and subscribe for more content. I think the next guests we're gonna have are gonna be a very spicy discussion that me and Dream and possibly SilverSandBag will have. So seriously, thank you to everybody swinging by. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time here on the State of the Game from Mortal Kombat 11.